Hi everyone, Radhe Radhe. So today we're going to be talking about chapter 2, verse 63. We're about 12 verses away from, I think there's 75 verses here, right? Or 72 or something. So we're very close towards the end of chapter 2 now, which is considered to be one of the crux chapters of the Gita. Anyway, so I have some things to share again. If you want to get straight to the verse, you can scroll to the right until you see the screen. I've been contemplating a lot last night about power games. So I have this phrase, I don't know if I've ever used it in any of these videos, but I use this a lot in my real life. For some reason, might not have used it here. It's material power versus spiritual power. So power games are such a poor man's substitute towards feeling some sort of um, worthiness. A lot of these human problems that we have stem from this feeling of lack of worthiness, or this feeling of lack of love, and unlovable unworthiness. Like, I cannot be loved. That is the fundamental. It's a shame feeling of I cannot. There's something wrong with me and I cannot be loved, which is of course far from the truth, because I mean, God crazy loves us. Krishna crazy loves us. There's no, I mean, if you start to notice, you'll see that. But it's very difficult when we're in this. And so this Gita is helping me in that way as well, because just explaining the difference between the material and the spiritual. I mean, I've been using this phrase for a long time, but now as he's explaining the difference, it's just helping me even further. That light and sound show that I did yesterday at the East of Kailash temple in Niskon, that also helped explain it. Like, somehow, I mean, I've seen this kind of stuff so many times before, but it's just there's a greater depth of understanding sometimes when things hit you, right? So this kind of hit me yesterday, just the difference. So in the auto on the way back home, everywhere around me, I was feeling this material thing, this material, like the what they talk about, tamoguna and rajoguna, which is tamoguna is the mode of ignorance, and rajoguna is the mode of passion, and satoguna is the mode of goodness. So they were talking about like being, so I was seeing that tamoguna and rajoguna around me. Basically, I was seeing things and I was like, I don't feel like seeing this at all. It's not feeling good. So I kind of closed my eyes just so that I could, that verse about pulling your limbs into your shell like a tortoise. I kind of pulled that. I closed my eyes and I started chanting, and I felt immediately better. So, these power games are basically a way to try to hurt a person, or not necessarily even try to hurt, but just try to gain some, yeah, basically try to hurt a person, because that makes the person feel that they have something. If they can't have love, then they at least feel something. And then there are many people who will feel that they're loved. They will feel a lot that they're loved, but they feel that they're loved on a superficial level, and they don't understand the depth of how much they're loved by Krishna, by God, like by I mean, they don't really believe that they think that they're loved, but they don't really believe that they're loved. Like, because the actions will prove that. There's just so much depth that goes into things. It's it's mind-boggling. It's really mind-boggling. Anyway, so yeah, power games, and why people play power games, and um, I mean, there are so many people, right? Like, I mean, in the governments and in just the elites and whatever, there are very high level people who play an immense amount of power games. And if we get into this place where we are fighting, I mean, we should be fighting, of course, we should be standing up for injustice, but we're angry, or we're bringing those, like, negative hormones, cortisol and whatever hormones into our bodies because we're angry with them, then we're the ones that are losing. They're not losing. It doesn't affect them in any way. But it's like taking poison and expecting the other person to die. So even in with people like those, if we send them love, if we send them as much love as we can muster in our hearts, and if we understand that the reason they're playing these power games is because they don't understand love, they've never experienced it, they have no concept of it. And there are so many people like that even around us who have no concept of it. And if we can just have a huge amount of compassion for them and find a way to maybe in small little ways show them the other side, show them the spiritual side. Because the material versus spiritual is power games versus love, right? And when you're in the mode of love, then the power games just melt away because what matters to you. Yeah, I'm getting emotional. What matters to you is the love. What matters to you is the spiritual gain. And oh, it's nice to be able to see the distinction. It's really, really beautiful to be able to do these verses because it's it's beyond phenomenal. Okay, I'll go to the verse. I will sing it. Krodad bhavati sammoha sammohat smriti smriti vrisha smriti vrimshat buddhinasho buddhinashat pranashyati. So this is a continuation of the previous verse. Here, let me read the translation first. From anger, complete delusion arises, and from the delusion, bewilderment of mind. So, in the previous verse, we ended at anger. So, I'll go to the previous verse actually, and I'll read out both. From anger, complete delusion arises. From delusion, bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. And when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool. Okay, so Krodad bhavati sammoha. So from anger, krodha in Hindi is anger. Bhavati takes place. Sammoha, perfect illusion. So from anger, perfect illusion takes place. Sammohat smriti brahmaha. Sammohat smriti, yeah. Samohat. From illusion, Smriti is memory. So from illusion, Vibhramaha. Brahm is bewilderness. Brahm is illusion actually. Vibhramaha is bewilderness. So from illusion of memory, from illusion we get bewilderment of memory. Smriti Brahm Sat Buddhi Nasho. After bewilderment, Buddhi is intelligent. Nash is to cut, kill, end, destroy. So from Buddhi Nash, like destruction of intelligence. So after memory, after Spriti Brahmsad, after bewilderness of memory, loss of intelligence takes place, and Buddhi Nashat Pranashyati. Buddhi Nashat Pranashyati. Buddhi Nashat. So Buddhi Nashat, after loss of intelligence, after the destruction of intelligence, Pranashyati, one falls down. So from anger, delusion arises. From delusion, bewilderness of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. And when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool. That's the verse. So let me read out Swami Mukundanand's section. Anger leads to clouding of judgment, which results in bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, the intellect gets destroyed, and when intellect is destroyed, one is ruined. Okay. So yeah, let me read the previous one. I said I will read it. So here he's saying when contemplating the objects, so this is where it starts. When contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment to them. So when we think about these objects of the senses, like in my case, shopping, I'm not very much into, okay, whatever. I don't need to justify. when Contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them, and from such attachment, lust develops, and from lust, anger arises. Lust, desire. Uh, maybe it's different in. Okay. Okay. So from, I'm not even going to use the word lust because that's very specific kind of attachment, and he talks about desire. So kama, desire. So when contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them, and from such attachment, desire develops, and from such desire, anger arises, and then from this anger, delusion arises, and from delusion, bewilderness of memory. Bewilderment of memory, intelligence is lost. When intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool. So it all starts from the senses. It all starts from this attachment to the senses. It all starts from thinking about it. Basically, not even attachment, it starts from thinking about it. When contemplating the object of the senses, dhyan, dhyayatah, dhyan means thinking. So it's not even so much that attachment is not the first, attachment to material stuff is not the first step. The first step is thinking about it. So, yeah, but then, yeah, okay. So I wanted to go into the solution mode, which I have no idea. Krishna Bhagwan will tell us. So, anyways, yeah. The idea is to not think about, because I think Arjun says later on that all this, what you're saying, don't think about this stuff. It's like, if I remember from the Light and Sound show yesterday, it's like trying to stop wind with our hand. Like, that's how difficult it is. So it's easy to say, but that don't think about the stuff. But it's very difficult. That's if Arjun is saying that, imagine how we would feel about that, right? How little control we would have if he is finding. I mean, he's got so much self-control, so much willpower. And if he's saying that, so he really understands. The depth of his understanding is very, very high. But that being said, we can still do it. Like last night in the auto when I was coming back, I could still feel that. I could still feel that I don't need to look at all of that stuff around me. I don't need to look at all those billboards, and I don't need to look at all those, listen to all that. I mean, listening is harder to control because we can't close our ears, but I don't need, I mean, I can walk away, or I can go to a different room, or I can, there are many things that I can do in order to not put my senses around all of that stuff that's Rajoguna and Tamoguna, which is mode of goodness and, mode of passion and mode of ignorance, as much as possible. And just having this prayer, to God, please help me be in mode of goodness, and please help me connect with you. That's, yeah. Okay, that's it for today. We'll end here. We'll go to chapter 2, verse 64 tomorrow. Wish you a very, very, very beautiful day. Radhe Radhe.